Yeah, we have 3 rules: no pets, no kids, and no significant others. One of the children had a gun in his hand.
Oh no, this is why we all stick together.
This is why we stick together.
Thank you, Becca, for welcoming me here to talk with you today. Tell me, where are we?
We are in the Oakhurst neighborhood. I like to say right in the heart of Charlotte. Oakhurst is in the 28205 neighborhood, the zip code, just the southeast side of Uptown. So we're just a few miles away from Uptown, straight up either Monroe Road and Independence Boulevard.
Yeah. Tell me, kind of when was this neighborhood established? Like, sort of what's a little bit of the history behind it?
The history behind it is it was established really as a mill neighborhood. The Hudson Hosiery Mill was built in the neighborhood right up here at the corner, Chippendale and Tulane Street by Monroe Road. And I understand that was around 1930. And there were a few houses here, the oldest house 1915, but the neighborhood then developed really around the hosiery mill.
Tell me, as far as from this neighborhood, what do you love most about it? Or what's kind of the hidden gem about this neighborhood that people might not know unless they live here?
The hidden gem, other than of course not having an HOA.
Right. I love all the expression, like all the different homes, and it's, see all the remodel and all those kind of things. You've got some good diversity and variety.
That's what I love. I've actually lived this is my 30th year in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in Midwood. I bought there before it was cool in the late 90s.
Right.
I thought it was cool. And then
everybody else just needed to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I spent about 13 years in Elizabeth before I built this house.
Right.
What I like when you live in the city and being in Charlotte for 30 years, the city is inside the belt line,
mm-hmm.
right? Ballantyne was barely a blink of construction when I got to Charlotte.
Right.
So all the suburbs that we've sprawled to. That's why I love this area, especially the East Charlotte. You've got the old neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the blend of the old and the new. And it's always heartbreaking when you see one of the old ones being torn down to build the new.
Yeah.
But it still just attracts a wide variety of people who appreciate being inside the city
mm-hmm.
and what that
Everything's
has to
so
offer.
close.
Everything's so close.
Yeah.
Quick Uber ride if you're going uptown,
right?
Going to see a show, going to the game. And we've got a lot of great little walkable, in our case, rollable destinations. The newer ones like Night Swim Coffee, up here at Oakhurst
mm-hmm.
Commons, and then Common Market.
Love the Common Market.
Yeah, this one they call it Oakwald. They combine the Oakhurst and the Cotswold right
mm-hmm.
here on
mm-hmm.
the line.
Making new neighborhoods up all the time, right?
Yeah, but it's a great gathering spot for neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
We even have a unofficial, and we're trying to reestablish the community association from a voluntary community association, but Common Market takeover
mm-hmm.
On a monthly basis
yeah.
in the neighborhood. I also, because I moved here like during lockdown of the pandemic, and it took me a while to get to know my neighbors, right?
Sure.
They weren't just going,
yeah.
Hanging out with their neighbors.
Right.
And so a couple years ago, I started the Oakhurst Women's Wine and Walk group. And once a week, we know when we meet, and we choose different areas of the neighborhood to meet up and just get to know each other. And that's been a really fabulous way to get to know my neighbors.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You got a little bit of the, the movement, the cardio, and all that kind of stuff. You got the wind down, Wednesday or whatever, whatever it is.
It's bring whatever you want to drink.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we have 3 rules too. We have no pets, no kids, and no significant others.
Perfect.
So that's just an
it's
hour.
Just a little
it's
bit
an
of
hour
me
of
time.
Community time.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Good of you to do that. So what brought you into real estate? What's your story? What's your origin story of how you got into real estate?
Well, I didn't start real estate in my 20s after college. I came to Charlotte for my financial services career and worked for one of our major financial institutions for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And then always with that, never intending that was going to be my long-term career, but once you get settled with those regular paychecks and great benefits, it's certainly harder to leave.
Sure.
But I probably would have gotten into real estate sooner. However, I always envisioned a realtor as extrovert, life of the party.
Right.
And that
never meets a stranger.
does
Always
not
out marketing. Right.
That's the ones that I knew. That's what I had in my head. And so I really had to go into a deep dive because that is not me. Again, being from a corporate background, I'm much more analytical. I did a lot of project and program management, which really translates well into my little micro projects of managing my client transactions.
For sure.
Yeah.
Especially with that analytical brain. What advice are you giving buyers and sellers now, or either or?
That we're back in a normalized market. While the data says that we're still a seller's market in Charlotte, we are in that same range and that balanced range where we were in pre-pandemic 2019, 2018.
Yep.
The rates are a little bit higher, and so with the increased appreciation that we experienced over the pandemic years, affordability is harder. And so even though we are in a space where rates are very, I would call normal,
right,
that things feel less affordable.
Right.
So,
and I think a lot of people just focus on the rate because, the home value isn't likely to really change that much. Some markets are. Ours stays historically stays very normal, but I think that's why there's so much attention on rates, but rates can only do so much of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Especially when, again, we're kind of in that normal historical range. The 5s, the 6s is not, is not out of bounds.
Yeah. And I have people that, back in 2019, 2020 still wanted to wait and have lost out on that significant appreciation. But we're back to a normalized appreciation. We are not a depreciating market. We've just normalized our appreciation level in Charlotte. So year over year, we are still appreciating in value. But expectations between sellers and buyers are still having a hard time balancing out.
Yeah. Yes, and I would say that is definitely part of the market too. It takes time, for kind of everybody to sort of catch up and sometimes sort of test the market a little bit and see what it actually means for them, where they're looking, kind of their price range and all that. I always think that whenever real estate professionals we get together, we start swapping stories and have some wild ones, some crazy ones. But what's one of your funniest or your craziest real estate stories?
I'm gonna go with more of a craziest than a funniest story because something that happened here locally near the neighborhood. I was showing years ago a home in Cotswold, $1 million gorgeous home to a blended family. They needed a bigger place to be able to have all the kids.
Know all about that, yes.
Exactly. And the kids were young. I've always had a rule from the beginning that when we tour a house, we go through the experience together. I have some people who try to, spread out. Somebody's in the basement and the other person's on the second floor. And no, we all stick together. And so we were in the massive primary suite. The parents and I were in the bathroom, and this primary suite had a unique feature. It had a safe room. Next thing I know, I hear Dad shouting. I can't tell you what he is shouting. I just hear his voice in my head still today.
Right.
And we run out of the bathroom. We're still in the primary suite. I thought we were all together, right? One of the children had a gun in his hand.
Oh no.
The safe room had an unlocked gun safe.
That's not very safe.
And no,
the safe room was not safe.
The safe room was not safe. It's a okay story, right? We have a happy ending.
Yes.
We didn't have to call in the police at that moment in time, or paramedics. So thankfully.
Oh my gosh.
But it was heart-stopping.
Sure.
And of course, we stopped our showing and we had a nice conversation, family conversation, and me about what to do if you ever run across a weapon.
Right.
I let the listing agent know so she could make sure that was taken care of right away.
Yes.
And then my clients bought the house.
Okay, so now they have a safe room that doesn't have the safe in it. It's but that certainly makes the house memorable. Because sometimes you're going through homes and you're like, wait, what was that house that had the blue room or smelled like the cat or whatever? You kind of forget. But that's a little unforgettable.
That was the story.
That was pretty memorable. Yes, and good advice too. This is why we all stick together.
This is why we stick together.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing Oakhurst with us and talking about your part of Charlotte. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, and I am excited to share Oakhurst and the East Charlotte community with anyone.